So modding knives is one of my favorite things to do in general, whether it's changing something about the performance of the knife, just the way it looks, or something in between. So I wanted to kind of take a minute today to go through the knives that I've modded, or that I've bought that were modded, and just to share what you can do with some of your favorite knives. And let's first take a look at this Kershaw Bel Air. While this mod isn't immediately apparent, it has had skiff bearings installed to drastically improve the action. And I think that affects certain styles of knives more than others. You might not feel that much of a change in like frame lock or liner lock knives, where the smoothness of the action really depends more on the way that the detent is pressing against the tang of the blade. Moving over to this Protech Malibu. This one I received heavily modded, and it did interest me very much. So this has had the Cerakote removed, the finish has been stonewashed, it's got a titanium deep carry pocket clip, and this one also had skiff bearings installed, and it is quite smooth. Moving over to this Delica. So this is the PD1 Micro Melt. Originally had maroon scales, and this one just has the G10 Flightanium handle scales on it, which I think is a drastic improvement from the FRN. I think these were only like $18 or something like that. Really good deal for these. Excellent grip, just some really high quality scales. It didn't affect the action at all, is still extremely smooth, and I just colored in that maroon backspacer as they are out of the black titanium Flightanium backspacers right now. Then we have these Met and Boss scales for the Spyderco PM2. Just some nice lasered aluminum scales, just to change kind of the feel and the aesthetics of this knife. And over here, we have a Flightanium black titanium backspacer on this Warncliffe K390, and I left this one on here because I felt like it drastically improved the action on this particular one. Sometimes Delicas, their action can vary sometimes. Sometimes you'll get a really stiff one, sometimes you'll get a really smooth one, and when I put the Flightanium backspacer on this, it made it much smoother to open and actually gave it a much snappier action. So I do like the Flightanium on this one specifically, though it would probably look better on this one. And that's the fun thing. That's why I like having multiple Delicas. I've gone through this. This one used to have these scales on it, and I had Flightanium, titanium scales that I sold, so it's really fun to just swap those around sometimes. And then we have the this MBK Ex Machina. So this one just had the blade polished on it, which I think is a really interesting mod. Oh, that just made that worse. But it's not a full polish. You can still see some of the factory scratch pattern on that on the satin. Let me just try to wipe that off a little bit to show that off. I just think that's a pretty cool mod there. And I do really like that kind of San Mai line on that ZDP core. Then we have one of my favorite knives that I've modded, and that is this Delica. So this has a Flightanium titanium backspacer, a Lynch Northwest deep carry clip, and these nice clothy Votix micarta scales that are a skinny mod. So these are what the stock Delica scales are shaped like. Well, actually, I have stock Delica scales right here. So we can see it's a little more contoured there. So this one just brings the scales all the way down to the liner, so you get this nice slimmed out look, which I think really complements that Warncliffe blade much better. And of course, that backspacer adds a nice snappy action and just some really good aesthetics in that deep carry titanium pocket clip if you like a deep carry knife. And then we have the Flightanium full micarta kit for the Dragonfly. When I saw these were only $18 with the titanium backspacer, well, I just had to give it a try. And I've seen some hit and miss stuff about this, but I don't have any issues with it. It has got a fully solid lockup. Don't have any lock failure issues with mine. It's still very solid. But it came with the scales and the titanium backspacer, both for only 18 bucks. Really good steal. And it came with some actual phosphor bronze washers as well as with the, this is a lightweight, and I don't think those have washers in them. Excellent little mod there. And you could technically say that this smock has been modded, if you want to call it a mod or not, but I just took out the second detent ball on this one, so it just gives it a much smoother action because it doesn't have an additional detent on it. So some people have that because if you just very slightly depress that button, it can take it out of its lockup, but I've never had that issue. I don't think that could happen in my pocket, but that is why they had it, just as an additional safety feature. And this was probably my least favorite time that I've ever had modding a knife. Not my least favorite. I had a bad time doing this. So I took the original clip-side scale from this Paramilitary 2 and replaced it because I don't like this finish on the pocket side. It really tears up my pants, and I don't really want it to tear up every pair of pants every time I want to carry it. It was making me not want to carry it. It was making me want to pick something else, and that's not a feeling I want to have with a new knife. So I want to be able to carry it and not have to worry about it shredding my pockets. Also threw a titanium deep carry clip on there, but one of the reasons I had such a bad time with this is that they Loctited the out of the scales. I mean, it was terrible. And the press fitting on the lanyard tube was a nightmare to get out. I mean, I tried every method with the chopsticks and anything that I could read online. The chopsticks ended up helping. So you don't really want to grip the outside of it because you can scratch it up and wear off some of that finish. And if you try to just like rotate it out too much, the liner is still seated in that press fitting too, and that liner will tear up the G10 scale, and it was just not a good time. It took me like 30-45 minutes just to get that scale loose. Just I had a little set of plastic pry clips that I was just very slowly working, and I put the chopstick in it and would beat on the side of the chopstick to just kind of try to get it out and loosen it up. But now that it's done, I do really like this. Wasn't always a fan of like asymmetrical scales on knives, but I don't have to worry about that textured finish tearing up my pockets, and I still get that cool bumblebee high vis extra grippy finish on the outside. It didn't affect the action or the centering at all. It is still fantastic. And the Paramilitary 2s, I don't really like need a deep carry clip. I like them on some knives. Like, I don't have to have them on everything. But when I did carry this one, it was the first time I carried a PM2 for a while when I got this one, and I noticed it did sit very high. Almost felt like it was going to come out of my pocket at some point. So I'm sure it was fine, but I do feel better with a deep carry clip on this guy. And over to one of my favorite mods, and that is the Lynch Northwest mod kit. So that replaces the Delica scales and liners, and backspacer and clip. So you got the blade, the spring on the inside, the lock bar, and the screws are all original. But everything else is replaced, and that gives it just a very nice smooth washer on titanium action, and it gives you a forward finger choil, which Delicas don't normally have, and it is just an awesome all-around improvement. It really just entirely changes the knife. Really excellent mod there. But I love modding my knives. I'm curious to see if anybody else out there likes to mod theirs. I know it seems like I mostly modify Spydercos. They just so happen to have the most aftermarket parts that I've seen. You see more of the Benchmades are getting some more aftermarket parts, but there's just a whole lot of modification options with Spydercos out there. But yeah, do you like mod your knives? What are your favorite mods? What do you like to do? Thanks for watching.